Hi, Harshita. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Arvind. Hi, how's it going for you?
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you for your time and congrats again on your NCR. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I'm happy to do this. I'd love to revisit my entire application journey and share it with you. So, yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. I think it's again. Thank you for your time. So basically, the idea behind doing the success debrief is to hear from you uh, on how your application process was. We'll sort of start with your
Mhm.
background abroad, what you do at work, where you're from, and so on, and kind of unpack how the various components of the application journey was for INSEAD, especially for INSEAD itself.
Mhm.
With the let's say the daunting application process, like a lot of essays, video essays, interviews,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So, and no two experiences are the same, right? So, it's basically with the idea of understanding how your journey was, what you learned, how you felt,
Mhm.
and any tips that you also have for applicants. So, with that, let's start, Harshita. Tell us
Yes.
a bit about your background, where you're from, what you do.
Yes, of course. I'd be happy to. I've been a creative person throughout. I've studied design. I majored in textiles from one of the foremost fashion schools in India. And post that I was working with a home textile company, constantly catering to mass market retailers sitting out of Europe. To name a few, Carrefour, Tesco, Home Center, they were all the clients that I was creating home textiles for. Post which I decided to merge my problem solving skills, but keeping design at the core of it. I moved to the BCG as a design strategist. Now I still design, but I cater to much wider practice areas and solve for GTM strategies for brands and create identities. It's been over 6 years to me studying and working in the design industry, and that's been my background.
Right, right. And I think something that's interesting, maybe digging a bit deeper into, is you made a transition to BCG, in a
Mhm.
design role without an MBA, right, which is unusual for most folks. So can you talk a bit about how that journey was and how difficult, or what you learned when you made that transition?
Yeah. I mean, at the core of it, I am still a designer, but I'm leveraging all the creative thinking skills that I feel most consultants also practice, but just from a business lens instead. I strategize on problems, but they're not generally solved by keeping things as finance or ops at the core of it, but just design. Of course, the transition was interesting. I never expected myself to end up in a consulting space as a designer, but it's been a solid learning curve because now I get to do all the creative bits for brands, but by just exploring in varied practice areas.
Right, right. And so when did the thought of an MBA come to your mind, right? Or why did you want to do an MBA?
Hmm. I think I'd been pondering upon it for quite a lot of years, but I actually remember the moment that I knew now it has to happen. Because as a core design professional, it was very hard for me to be able to contribute to business problems, be it at Wellspun or even at BCG, because I lacked the theoretical knowledge for it. I've always wanted to solve for consumers. I've been doing that for a lot of years, but it's always been again restricted through design. Even here, there's only as much I can do as a design strategist. Uh, so now, of course, for me to move further of to more core consulting roles and even beyond, I definitely need a bird's eye view of everything from finance to ops to marketing, even strategy. And an MBA from INSEAD fits here perfectly. So just gaining niche theoretical learnings, of course, keeping design at the back end and with a cohort which is as diverse as my background, which is why INSEAD.
So you decided to take the GMAT, right? Talk a bit about your journey. I
Mhm.
think, and I would say yours has been one of the most persistent ones, right? You took it multiple times, improved on it,
Yes.
and so on.
Mhm.
Could also get tough during those, between those retakes,
Yeah.
right? So how was your GMAT journey like, and what kept you
Mhm.
going?
Hmm. I think GMAT has been a pain point for me for as long as I can recall, and it's undeniably been the most significant part of my MBA prep and application journey as well. But that being said, even though I gave my first attempt back in 2022, which was 6, 7 years after I had gotten used to the idea of sitting down and giving an exam. And my first attempt was extremely disappointing. It was literally the display of what you read on GMAT Club, what all can go wrong on test day. I experienced it with my first attempt and ended up getting a 460. But from a 460 to now having a close to a 700, I did not settle for my score at all till at least I had a step in the door. The only reason for that, and I'd give part credit to you as well for that, Irwin, I came to realize that the GMAT was the only aspect of my application that I could control. So even though it was extremely painful, there were long nights, a lot of work management, but it was the application aspect that I could possibly improve upon, because the more the effort I put over the years, the improvement curve was very, very reflective in nature as well. And yeah, I think that's how my GMAT journey has been too.
Right. So I think, I mean, I would say that you're one of the most perseverant candidates I've worked with, right? You took it, I think, even a couple of weeks before the NCR
Yeah.
application.
Yes.
And I think one point worth adding is schools, especially like NCR, ask you for your testing history, right? So you're not giving them only one score, you're showing them that trajectory of improve from A to B and then B to C and so on. And that
Yeah.
also, I think, is something worth showing to a school as one of your strengths. Is even though, let's say, you might not hit your target score on attempt one, if you get to that score in 2 or 3 attempts, you show qualities like perseverance, especially when you're balancing your job and the application and the retake. And schools do understand that, right? So, and as they say, there's no one magic score. It depends on your overall profile, what you bring to the table, and how the school fits in, and so on. So, I think that's something worth highlighting, especially for
Yeah.
NCR, because they ask you to submit the score testing history.
Yes, yes, of course. I mean, spot on. I don't know how to say this, but I actually ended up taking my GMAT 9 times. I remember the application deadline was September 16, and September 5 was when I again went to the GMAT test center to give one last attempt, hoping for a score improvement. And when I did, and in fact, I even mentioned about this in my application. I really wanted to discuss about my GMAT journey, that even though I did not manage to hit a target score that would have been ideal for the school, but it also reflected on the fact that I was willing to put in the effort. And you're very spot on with it. NCR happens to be a school that appreciates it, which is why my GMAT score managed to got trumped by all the other things I had in my application.
Right. Right. So let's talk about NCR, right? So
Yeah,
that was sort of your number one priority school, right? So
yeah.
what aspects of the school sort of made that your number one choice?
Yeah, I mean, I think INSEAD was my dream school from the very beginning, and for reasons that felt very personal rather than aspirational in nature. I mean, practically speaking, the 10-month duration was a bonus and still is. It's a very focused curriculum. It allows me to get back into the job space very clearly, very fast, and it made sense with the goals I had in mind as well. But the biggest pull was the network. I've always believed that when I want to do an MBA, or when I do eventually end up doing an MBA, it should allow me to have this opportunity to meet my future board of directors. And what I mean when I say that is that I'd like to be around people who challenge you, open doors for you, and maybe constantly guide you through the process as well, and be a part of your journey. INSEAD, with its extremely international cohort, felt like the right place to be in. Although that being said, I wasn't willing to put all my eggs in one basket also. So I did, even though INSEAD was my dream school, I did intend on applying actually to HEC as well, which shared a lot of similar values. Moreover, one final thing that made me certain that INSEAD is the place I want to be was because it is also filled with as many diverse folks as the background that I stem from, which is what made it the ideal choice.
Right, and the location, or the dual campus aspect also, like in Europe and Singapore.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, having worked for the European geography for quite a few years for the consumer centric space, I knew I'd love to study being in that territory. And now that I'm at BCG, I'm looking after APAC. So just having that blend to be able to study in APAC and then in Europe for some months was a bonus too.
Right, right. And I think I know for a fact that you spoke to a lot of people, right? Students, alumni, even the AdCom, and so on. So,
Yeah.
are there any, specific instances, or let's say, conversations or
Mhm.
insights or aspects that you feel stood out about NCR?
Yeah. I mean, ever since I started researching about the school, I knew it's a diverse cohort. But the more I spoke to people, even during my application journey, and even now when I'm starting to getting to know my cohort, I realize how true, in essence, that it actually is. In my class, for example, and this is also taking into account the earlier people that I've spoken to, there's a math scholar who also happens to be a certified ski instructor. There's a finance, there's like a data analyst who is also a part of the German cricket team. And it was very recently I was speaking to a guy who's into robotics. He's working with a science company, and he has been producing music for the past 10 years. I think this really goes to say how diverse the cohort actually is, and how much INSEAD wants one to not just have professional excellence, but have like a solid hobby or a passion that they're willing to pursue. That was something that really attracted me to the school. It was something that I was drawn to since the beginning, when I got to know that the cohort is as diverse as finance students, dentists, engineers, doctors, and just designers as well. And that was the kind of place that I wanted to be a part of, and that really stood out for me.
Right. Right. So on that note, can we talk a bit about, let's say, your extracurriculars, right, or any aspects that um, you do or
Mhm.
did outside of work that you felt
Mhm.
helped you in the application process, whether that's essays or interviews or so?
Um, quite a few actually. I mean, when I was back in college, I had closely worked on three startup ideas: one in edtech, one in fintech, and then one just about building a community. They were all incubated in varied colleges, and we managed to raise funding. Those were all a part of my extracurricular experiences, me trying to pursue things beyond design. And then I was also very passionate, still am, a higher altitude trekker. And again, recently I got my scuba certification too. These aspects, initially, I thought did not hold as much value because I thought these are just things I'm passionate about beyond work. But they were points that were actively talked about in my interview. Not just talked about, I thought they'd being generic questions, but they were dove deeper into very specific insights for me to understand that this is what the school truly, really values, for you to be uh, being able to bring more to the table apart from your academic learnings. In my interview, it just so happened that both of my interviewers were also scuba divers, and we did speak about this in great length. And I realized that this is something that the school really does focus on. It is about bringing a balance between multiple pursuits that one has.
Right, right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's also a essay specifically dedicated to extracurriculars, right? So that also
Yes,
gives them the data point for you to expand on that
right.
as well. Right. So let's talk a bit about the application process, right, before we go to
Mhm.
CV, essays, and so on. So can you,
Mhm.
in hindsight, what are the positives, or let's say the factors that you felt helped your case in terms of, because it's a very competitive applicant pool, a lot of people apply,
Mhm.
especially from demographics in India. So
Yeah.
what are the things that you felt were going for you, or were positives that
Mhm.
that helped you in the application process?
Hmm. I really like to believe that what made my application stand out, or maybe was my differentiator, was me stemming from a creative background, just bringing in a perspective which was more design centric in nature than very business oriented. I have been creating product offerings more lucrative to consumers at the final stage, while other folks are actually part of the process before that. And that is, I think, a strong influence that I bring to the class, which acted as my USP of sorts. I think this also has been attested by the fact that I got granted the INSEAD Alumni Fund for Diversity Scholarship. I mean, no other way I would have gotten the diversity scholarship had it not been catering to the fact that I do stem from a fairly diverse background, which is creatively oriented. And that
Right,
was
right,
probably my USP too.
right. Yeah, yeah. I think that's a great point, right? Because what I hear sometimes from candidates is
Mhm.
NCR only takes in consultants, right? Or let's say math, quant oriented
Yeah,
strategy consultants, which they
yeah,
do. I mean, there is a percentage of the class that belongs to that background, but there's all these
absolutely.
other, personas or backgrounds like the ones that you mentioned,
Mhm.
including yours, which actually adds to the variety or the excitement of the class, right? Because if you're surrounded only by a certain, let's say,
Mhm.
persona or background, which I think sometimes happens in in the Indian education system, right? Especially up until undergrad or so on, you're
Yeah.
surrounded by people that are mostly
Mhm.
sort of, let's say, math geeks or in
Mhm.
engineering, let's say, quant heavy people. So the moment you
Right.
see a class like this or sort of an opportunity like this, you get to hear and learn also from people that
Mhm.
view the world from very different vantage points, right?
Yeah, yeah, actually, yes, yes, absolutely.
Right. So on the flip side, what were, let's say, some of the obstacles or let's say challenges that
Mhm.
you felt you had to face, and how did you sort of overcome them through the process?
Mhm. I mean, I think as mentioned earlier, I really did feel that the biggest challenge for me was to be able to ace the GMAT, and I cannot emphasize on this enough. The GMAT was undeniably the only aspect of the application that felt under control, even though it felt extremely painful to sail through. Also, my extracurriculars, job experiences, I could not have changed those with the GMAT I could work upon, and that was a problem statement. But how I worked on it was actually by signing up for GMAT club sectionals towards the end of it. I remember for my last 3 attempts at least, I had signed up for the GMAT club mocks. I used to give a sectional every day, ensure that my strategy is set in stone so that nothing changes on the D day for me, regardless of the kind of questions I get. And I did leverage the library of multiple questions as well. So how I managed to overcome my GMAT was to be very rigorous with prep and being dedicated to just one source. And that is actually the source I'd recommend everyone to leverage to. I mean, GMAT Club is a great community that you could constantly be asking questions on, get your basics right, and it truly does pay off.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Great. And so let's talk switch gears now and talk about the application, right? The INSEAD application, which I think is probably the most exhaustive of any business school out there. Right? If you look at the
Mhm.
entire process, including CV,
Yeah.
LORs, essays, videos, and so on. So let's start with
Mm.
the CV, right? So which
Mm.
is also in a way a calling card, right? When you reach out to students
Mm.
or even AdCom, they might ask you for it. So any
Mm.
insights or let's say tips on how you transformed your CV, right, from what you had earlier to the one that
Yeah.
you had for this year.
Yes, and before I actually dive into that answer, I think major credit for that goes to you for me to be able to learn how to write a CV. I remember when you and I worked together on my first draft, it was so bad. I now laugh at it, but you were extremely polite about it that it's okay, and that is where my learning curve on actually creating a good CV started. The CV that we create for our job applications is very, very different from what we submit for an MBA application. And that was the foremost important realization to have. Uh, as a designer, I have probably not learned to quantify my work as much because there's only as much quantification you can bring to aesthetics and creativity. But that was my learning when I was creating my CV for the MBA admit. I learned how I can put various metrics into quantifiable pointers and how I could actually portray them better for a layman to understand in not very niche industry specific jargon. You played a very major role in that, and that's how I think hands down has been my major learning how to write a good CV for an MBA application, which is different from your job application.
Right, right. Yeah, and I mean the first draft is never the final, right? For any document for that
Yeah,
matter, not just CV or essays. And
yeah.
um, okay, what about the essays right now? Let's talk about. INSEAD
Mhm.
has a bunch of essays, right? Motivation essays, career essays. Then there's some ancillary, extracurriculars and
Mhm.
all that. So it's basically a mix, right? Of it's not only about your work experience; it's also about who
Right.
you are as a person. What your strengths are, for example, stressful situations you face, things like that. So, can you talk about the process we took, or any learnings that you've had, or any sort of insights you want to share about this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the INSEAD application was extremely, extremely rigorous in the sense that there were 6 essays, and those 6 essays had to be combined together with multiple answers to create like a very cohesive story, which honestly I couldn't have personally managed on my own. I could not have managed to have 6 separate segments that collectively managed to portray my personality in entirety, and that is where you came into the picture too. More than that, even the street map questionnaire that we are initially supposed to fill, I remember filling that out by taking a solid week and then coming back to you that, oh hey, now it's that I finally filled up the survey too. It was worth every effort, because all that I managed to brainstorm in that 1 week in the street map questionnaire, courtesy of it being very, very extensive in nature, allowed me to be able to pick on stories and anecdotes for my essays later. Had I possibly not done that activity with Administrate, even you, or maybe not taken the street map questionnaire seriously, I possibly would not have been able to draft the right essays, which are very mutually exclusive but also connecting together. Uh, Again, that was one thing that I'd like to give you credit for, because that process also felt like a lot of self reflection, because then in the end those 6 essays did come together as a cohesive story.
Right.
And I think
Right.
I'll also be honest, I was possibly not the easiest candidate to work with logistically, because with 14-hour work days and a lot of GMAT prep and a rigorous application like INSEAD, the street map questionnaire and just constant discussions really helped draft my essays better. So
Right. And, so let's talk about the interview process, right? So you submit the
mhm.
application, you're shortlisted. So NCR has 2 alumni interviews, right? Can you share your experience that you had with? Because from
Yes,
what I recall, I think you had two quite very different experiences, right? For, between the interviews. So
yes, I did. I did. I mean, honestly, now in hindsight, I think the interview experience was one that I didn't expect myself to enjoy as much as I actually did, even though in that moment it was very, very stressful. But in hindsight, I think those were very interesting reflecting points for me as well. I was interviewed by 2 people, as the NCR process is, and both of them stem from very different industry backgrounds. But interestingly, they had very soft overlaps with my own trajectory too. They were probably in the same space that I am hoping to be, just not from the same industry. And from the very start, what struck me was that those conversations didn't feel very transactional in nature. When uh, more into that later as to how each of those interview went, but at the base of it, they felt like conversations with people who genuinely wanted to know my story and not just tick boxes because it has to be done. The moment that stayed with me even after my interview was when one of my interviewers asked me about INSEAD's tagline, which is business for good. And honestly, it's not something I'd pondered upon before my interview. So when I was asked, it was the most blunt answer, unfiltered answer that I could practically manage to give. But on the surface it sounded like it's a fairly standard question. He's trying to ask me something, but what followed was something not standard. I mean, it opened up into this very wide, free flowing conversation, us discussing and exchanging ideas as 2 people who are generally interested in something together. I wasn't performing an answer anymore, and that felt like exactly the kind of experience or the environment that INSEAD is also trying to hold. So, my interview experience, at least the first one, was very, very insightful. I came back as a more self reflecting person with more insights from the interview. The second, I think, was a typical case of good cop, bad cop. I was deeply questioned on why MBA, why am I doing XYZ things and whatnot, which I think was also great, because it was post that interview I was even more stern on my own thoughts that I know exactly why I'm doing this and how I want to be doing this, and it instigated and rooted those ideas even deeper, which is what made the whole experience so much better. I think even for my interviews, I had done my research beforehand on both my interviewers, and I cannot stress how important that was to be able to starting off a very warm personal conversation with them. As I mentioned earlier, they both happen to be scuba divers too, and we ended up talking about scuba at length with each other, and it possibly wouldn't have happened had I not stalked them so much, or maybe just managed to have like a more deeper connection than just 2 folks conducting an MBA interview together. So
right.
yeah,
Right.
that's what my experience was like.
Right, right. And I think that's in a way unique about NCR, right? As you said, because and that's also one of the reasons they have alumni interview you. Some of them are
Hmm.
recent alumni, some of them are pretty experienced, but they kind of have a sense or feel of what kind of candidates they want to
Hmm.
see in the classroom, right? So if they were applying, or
Yeah.
because they've been in the classroom, they know what kind of folks go there. I think in a way the
Hmm.
broader question is, can I see having coffee with
Yeah.
this person, right? Or can I see sort of being part of a trek or whatever with this person. So hence, I think it's you can prepare and you should, which I think you did. But at the same time, there are certain aspects to which you cannot script, and even if you do, it'll sound sort of rehearsed, and it doesn't serve the purpose, right? When you're in that kind of conversation.
I mean, I think as you just said, I think it was this very mindset shift that also helped me from stopping to think of them as my interviews, of course, as evaluators, and actually think of them as school's biggest advocates, because they knew exactly the kind of class cohort there is. They knew the kind of personality test they want to be doing, and that took a lot of pressure off me, because that just made me feel like I'm supposed to portray my best story possible, and they will be the most ideal judge for it. And that just took a lot of pressure off.
Right. And how's your preparation process? Can you talk a bit about the mock interviews that you did also with one and NCR alum, right? So what did you how did you evolve sort of your interview preparations for those things?
Yeah, I think I prefer my interviews in a fairly structured, detailed manner. I started off by compiling questions that had been asked in the past by INSEAD alums, courtesy you as well, where you allowed me to get access to a whole library of questions that had been well asked, or INSEADers were asking in that particular round as well. I ensured that I also end up creating like an anecdote library, all structured in star format. I remember I did some 30, 40 different anecdotes from various parts of my life to be able to relate those with each and every possible instance. And I'm actually glad I did that, because one, of course, backing answers with proven stories is always more fruitful than just talking about things. And secondly, this worked perfectly for one of my interviews, because one of my interviewers said that they want me to be able to share stories for each and every question they ask me, and it has to not be related or overlapping with my application at all. Honestly, had I not done the anecdote library, I would have crumbled right there in front of my interviewer in that instance. Luckily, that did not happen. I also attended a few mock interviews. If you remember, you allowed me to get in touch with quite a few NCR alums who had been on the AdCom as well, and they conducted my mock interviews. So their insights were absolutely spot on and great, and they actually shaped me to be able to give a better, solid INSEAD level performance in my respective interviews.
Right. That's great. Yeah. Before we wrap up, can you talk a bit about the scholarship process, right? Or sort of, because INSEAD has a separate sort of mechanism by which you pick scholarships, you apply. So any insights or any tips that you have for people that are eyeing for scholarships?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are multiple scholarships that INSEAD does offer, and you can either go about in two ways possible. One, you apply for each and every scholarship, tailor your story to each possible, or you're very certain where your profile fits and what scholarship you can possibly be leveraging. All of them are most of the funds are provided by INSEAD alums as well. So you need to keep in mind that there's only as much funding that the INSEAD has to be able to offer to their students. I was the second category. I did not choose to apply to each and every scholarship available. I knew I was a diversity student. I knew the background that I was coming from, what my experience had been like, and I targeted those specific scholarships. I think what also helped was to be very, very honest about my own journey, because for the school to be able to giving you financial aid, they'd want to see a very authentic version of you than just somebody who is trying to get a waiver on their particular tuition fees also. That helped in my case. I remember I even got on a call with the finance officer there, and I also managed to get in touch with my admission officer to be able to share my story personally as to how my journey has been, where I'd like to go forward from here, and how just being in a design centric space allows me to leverage the INSEAD Alumni Scholarship Diversity Scholarship as well. And that's about it. That's the only input I'd had on the scholarship process.
Right. Yeah, and INSEAD is highly selective, right, as you said about scholarships. So it's not the case that, unlike, let's say, some of the US schools where both the volume and dollar value of scholarships tends to be, generally speaking, higher. INSEAD is pretty selective about both who they offer the scholarships to and also the which category, which amount, and so on, right? So I think that's it's no easy feat, right, to get to achieve what you achieved. So,
Yeah.
Harshita, let's wrap it up. So, if you were to sort of sum up, let's say, if you were to share your
Hmm.
three or maybe more key tips or pieces of advice for applicants, right, that are looking at business schools, especially in CR,
Hmm.
what would those be?
Um, yes, of course. I think I'd like to sum all of that up into one piece of advice for all that I'd like to say, and that would be to be honest with yourself before you begin. I I was initially not like that. I was in a very huge bubble when I came to you, Arvind, and you gave me fairly good reality checks, which also happened to be the reason why I wanted to work with you in the process. But more on that once I wrap up this question answer. I it really helps to be very honest about what is it that you're expecting out of the MBA experience, because one, it's a very fast moving world with the especially with the advent of AI at this point in time. And I've started thinking of the MBA less as a traditional degree, but more like a masters of being agile. You need to be fairly flexible, because that what business leaders today are actually looking like too. So whenever anyone's actually considering to apply to business school, it is important to start with the fundamentals as to why they want to do it, what is it that it's going to add into their career path, because it's a huge time and financial investment also. It's about you being away from the job market, and you need to be able to answer the whys correctly as to why now, why this degree, why XYZ school. And even though all these self-reflective points might feel futile at the beginning, they do add a lot of value when you do sit down to write those essays. I could personally see it. I remember drafting one of my essays with you early on, where there was something that I had just not pondered upon. I thought I'll craft a story. It just did not work. But when I did end up thinking and putting a very true, authentic version of myself out there, which you allowed me to do, constantly promoted the idea of putting extremely authentic, accurate stories because they reflect more of one's personalities. And it was literally out there because the story I was telling was way more natural and it connected with my core fundamentals also. And that's the only advice I'd have for someone. I mean, do not underestimate the process of self reflection. If it is demanded, then it is absolutely worth it, regardless of the outcome much later in the application process also. Yeah.
Right, right. All right, great then. Congrats again, and I hope you have a great time at NCR and all that comes after that.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a very valuable part of my INSEAD application journey. I honestly could not have been able to manage half of this without you being constantly patient with me through the process, through, I know, endless anxious emails and WhatsApp messages and last minute calls and 10 times iterating on essays and doing CV. I feel like you've played a very important role in my entire journey, and thank you so much for that as well.
Right, yeah, I'm happy to. And as I was saying, you're one of the, I think, most perseverant candidates I've seen work with. So I'm glad that it
That
worked out, and happy to have been part of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.